Hey everyone, Fabian, Empire Build Academy, and today I'm going to do a video all about the free-to-play and whether or not it's actually game over for the free-to-play stroke low spender. Now the reason this is, unfortunately I haven't got the report because the report has been deleted, but yesterday in server versus server I noticed a battle that was a solo battle, and it was between one of our strongest in terms of defense. I think they were about 8 billion in power, and it was a solo attack from a 37.9 billion. But the buffs of the 37.9 billion were quite insane. And the 8 billion, although they defended okay, and obviously it was a pretty decent defense report, I looked at the report and realized that if that same March would have come at my 2.8 billion account, I'm zeroed. I'm out of the game. It's not going to happen. And this is why I'm saying, is it over for the free to play? Because it's been a long time on Evony since anything has been done or geared towards the free to play. We've had K45, we've had K50, we've had new awesome generals, which are brilliant for pay to win. We've had events come out that are specific to the spender. And of course, I understand this is how these games play. They're all about making the money. But I just feel over the last 12 to 18 months, game really has geared towards the pay to win a lot more than it has previously, which is making it very difficult for my account, my Keep 39 in this server, to do anything. If I go into server versus server and I move across to their server, I'm going to get zeroed. It is pointless. But it's also the same on opening my bubble in this server. Yes, I can get reinforcements. Yes, that can help. But again, it's just geared towards the people that are spending. I just feel that more and more. So starting with the reason I'm saying this, the gap between free to play and spenders has widened. That is down to obviously the higher keep levels, the research, and actually military academy level goes up to 15. That's crazy. I don't know what kind of buffs you would be getting at that, but you can see I'm level 4, and I know going to level 6 would bring me personally some decent buffs. But again, it's just too much in terms of me being able to do anything in the different events. Now, when we look at the different events, there are some battles, some events that we can get involved with, but again, if we look at things like Astral Oracle, for example, yes, I can go in here, I can spend my little wish once times 10, but again, you can see the general optional chest guaranteed within wishing 260 times. I'm not going to get that. That's as simple as that. Again, if we had a look at some of the other events that are going on, Grace of Star Trail is a nice event, but when we look at this reward here, I'm going to be needing to spin 278 more times, so 280 times in total, to be able to get this particular reward. And again, if we look at this general Themistocles, which I actually asked Alexa how to pronounce, because I would have definitely not pronounced it like that, we can see that it increases your in-city troop attack by 25%, reduces enemy troops attack by 15% when Archer Tower Officer. And again, if we have a look at all these different ones that you get for the different ascensions, you are going to notice even bigger, stronger buffs. Not only that, with the new tier troops as well, which we now go up to, is it T16, T17? I can imagine T17 is going to be coming out soon if it isn't already. So yes, we are on T17 troops. I thought it was bad enough when T16 came out, but with T17 now as part of the deal as well, which obviously you do need to be K50 to unlock, but it's not going to be long before we see more of these K50s with these kind of troops. And the average, the norm from the spender is going to be the T16. You're going to be facing that a lot more often than we would have done previously. Again, as I said, with the events, we're seeing a lot more paid only events, premium rewards that need you to spend heavy to be able to do that. And overall on these events, like I say, unless you are super ridiculously lucky, really is becoming more and more difficult for the free-to-play, the low spender. Of course, we can be strategical in the way we play the game to make it as beneficial as possible for the free-to-play. But I'm just finding now, 2.8 billion. If we went back 6 months ago, I was able to get involved in server versus server. I was able to get involved in different BOCs, BOGs, things like that. But that has now become more and more difficult. Is it game over? over? Of course not. But the game has changed, and it's definitely not game over for the free-to-play. But what I will say is first 12 months of a new server, maybe even longer, is where you're going to get potentially your biggest enjoyment, and you're going to get the biggest contribution to the different events that you need. And as you end up at my level, where this server has now potentially been running for nearly 2 years, it is definitely going to become more and more difficult, and you will have to accept that what you have done in the previous year is not going to happen in the next 12 months. So where do the free-to-play still win? Well, you can't compete everywhere, that's clear, but you can still get involved in all the big monster rallies that your alliance are setting. You can be a rally filler. This is something actually that I'm considering doing myself. So for a long time, I have been all about defense. I've been all about trying to debuff the attack and take those solos. Against the rallies, I'm trying to stay clear. Now I'm going to have to change what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is I've got those 160 tokens that I've mentioned for over a year now. I still haven't spent them. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those tokens to actually purchase a range general, a ground general, and then build myself some decent high tier troops that can actually get involved with these rallies. And then hope that with the reinforcements, so if let's just say if I'm joining a rally from a distance, I don't want to be doing that right next to my rally setters and then I'm an easy target. I still want people to come and find me rather than knowing where I am, so I can join those rallies, but at the same time potentially still debuff a solo attack from someone who finds me who may be a little bit small. The other thing we can do in the BOGs and the BOCs of Evony is, of course, as soon as you're zeroed, you can go and heal a few troops and just be trying to take buildings. So using those teleports wisely, trying to take different buildings and building your points up that way. I have seen many members in my alliance alone that are really, really good at this. They've never been big power, but they are really good at taking the different buildings within the BOCs and the BOGs. Of course, another thing that is going to be crucially important is being part of a big alliance. It does make it a lot easier when you are getting some decent reinforcements, especially if you've still got something decent. I've got 500 million T1, T2 is at the 100 million, T3 is at the 50 million. It's nowhere near enough. I do need to continue building that up. But at the same time, with reinforcements from alliance members that are big, strong and powerful is definitely going to help me with those particular attacks. The other thing that we need to do is grind. That is definitely another thing we need to do on this game. There are a lot of games out there that the big spenders don't really want to get involved in. So it's whether they decide they want to pay to get ahead. But there are events such as the Grace of Star Trail that can pop out decent things. We've got the Great Expedition. But it's just a case of grinding and all these different events. And there's some that I'm sure you're already aware of I hate. But if I was getting involved with them and I'm collecting all the different things regularly, then it gives me a chance to potentially improve my account. Not by anything that is going to be amazing, but again, every little helps in reference trying to do this and having those different rewards. So to put this into context, we're not going to sugarcoat it. The free-to-play definitely struggles in the top tier events. Anything that you're taking from a 30+ billion account is going to hurt you, whether that's solo or rallies. Rallies, you're going to have to be very, very clever and trying to get out of the way of them. A thing that I haven't actually mastered, but I do know is something that can help in terms of the alliance, in terms of server versus server, is port swapping. It's something that I've never done. It is something that if you have the advice on what and how to do this, or maybe you know a perfect video for me to check out, that you could also advise in the comments to be able to do that. Continuing to get your general tokens so that you can get the best new generals and ascend them all the way. Don't open those general tokens straight away. Save them until you've got at least 60, it may be even 70, so that you can go and get the best new general when it comes out, whether that's a range general, siege general, or even maybe a wall general, because the last wall general we had in the game was Isaac Brock, and there hasn't been another wall general since, so even that is a possibility. But again, thinking with those wall generals, they do come with those percentage buffs and not the flat buffs. So even that, you're still going to benefit off those particular generals, those particular wall generals. You are going to have to consider having higher tier troops in there as well. So that is just a very quick video on the free-to-play and whether it's game over. In my honest opinion, as I said, just to summarise, free-to-play is very much involved in the first 12 months, 18 months of a new server. I still think that the game is very much there for you and very much you can get involved in the different events and obviously score highly in all of the different battlefields and server versus server. But as soon as you go past that 18 months and the big spenders, I'm going to say another thing actually. I did notice, and I don't know if this is anything anyone else has noticed, I now have my new account, which is for my Zero to Hero account. And what I've noticed on that is a lot of these events where you need luck, the luck is there at the beginning. I'm getting a lot of luck on my new account. The old account, it's almost like they dropped the percentages down to zero. Because the last time I won something decent from any of these events that give you the different rewards, the high tier rewards, just doesn't happen anymore. To give you an example, I have won the 7.2 billion resources or whatever it is on the Sulis Wishing Pool twice on my new account, which is obviously very helpful for that by just spending £10. The last time that happened on my main account, we're talking 6 months ago plus. So either A, I'm very unlucky on my old account, or B, I'm very lucky on my new account. Do let me know what you think about that. Also want to know your situation. Are you fully free to play? Are you a low spender? Are you someone who is thinking of quitting because of how difficult it is becoming? Do let me know what your keep level is and also the strategy that you're using to go forward in the game. And also, if you're a high spender, what would be your opinion? What would be your advice to Evony to try and keep these smaller players that are crucial to keeping the game alive? I'm going to leave it there. Please do let me know all your comments, what your thoughts are, and I will speak to you in another video very soon. Thanks for watching.